What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I have my special guest CG from over at C.A.M for All. Today we're going to be tackling a question in preparation for Marvel's What If series. Shout out to my wifey here for making the custom shirts. We are going to be tackling what our most anticipated what if question is within the cinematic universe. So Greg, take it away.
What's going on guys? So for today's video, we're going to be talking about the absolute most hype what if scenario that Mr. J and I came up with. And drumroll please. Our topic that we're going to be talking about is what if Thanos snapped the other half?
Yeah, bro, this question is literally something I thought of the minute Infinity War ended and Endgame began. All I could think about was how would the story play out differently had Thanos snapped the other half. Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, all of the main Avengers, they get snapped, and essentially the B-list or the new Avengers team, how would they take on this the entirety of this threat? So we're gonna dive into that based on the script that CG and I have created here, and we're gonna go through all the separate events throughout the timeline to lead us to the very ending of this story. So let's keep it moving.
So first of all, let's take a head count of who got snapped initially and who's going to be available for our what if scenario.
We have Bucky, Shuri, Black Panther, Wanda, and Falcon all would have survived the snap, and their location was in Wakanda directly after Thanos snapped. Next, we have Mantis, Groot, Drax, Peter Quill, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man. They all would have survived the snap, and their location was on Titan. We also have Nick Fury, who would have survived in the post-credit scene. Monica Rambeau, which we saw she was in the hospital in the events of WandaVision. And then Hank Pym, Janet Van Dyne, and Hope Van Dyne, they all would have been surviving the snap in order to pull Scott Lang out of the quantum realm. For the sake of argument of this story, we are going to say that Ant-Man, Scott Lang, would have survived the snap regardless of the situation because of the fact that he was in the quantum realm. He was in a dimension of its own that would have superseded the power of the Infinity Gauntlet snap. So with that, let's keep it moving.
So I definitely think it's safe to say that we definitely would have a pretty solid team who could lead a resistance against Thanos. You're definitely going to have some geniuses that are left over. You definitely have some natural born leaders. You're definitely going to have tons of fighters that are definitely strong enough to go up against Thanos and his entire crew. Okay,
now let us revisit the ending of Infinity War and beginning of Endgame so we can establish a proper timeline and also create some context for you guys. Boom. Infinity War, Thanos snaps.
So I don't want to mess this up, but we're going to get this right. We have so many fine details that we went over. So essentially, Ant-Man would get pulled out of the quantum realm this time because of Hank, Hope, and Janet. They don't get dusted. But obviously they're going to realize that something big just happened. The remaining survivors on Titan, Peter Quill, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Drax, Mantis, and the ship that they had, the Milano, get transported back to Earth by Doctor Strange using his powers.
After Thanos snaps and all the chaos starts to calm down a bit, all the Avengers and the remaining allies regroup back in Wakanda. Here in Wakanda, Shuri explains to the team and all the allies that when Thanos snapped, there was an unmeasurable level of cosmic radiation that happened during the snap that he had done to erase half of all existence in the world or in the universe, and that he snapped again in the garden, and that is how they find his location.
The remaining heroes assemble a team of Star-Lord, Wanda, Bucky, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Drax, and Black Panther. And they all go through the scenario of where they confront Thanos in or on the planet, the Garden. Once Thanos explains that he snaps the stones out of existence, Wanda is going to use her chaos magic to kill him the way that he killed Vashon.
After the Avengers kill Thanos out of frustration in the Garden, the Avengers return back to Earth and they start to begin to accept their fate, that there's nothing they can do. Thanos erased the stones out of this timeline, And this is where we are starting to set up the 5-year time jump that takes place in the movie in the beginning of Endgame. Meanwhile, Wanda goes through the events of WandaVision. We know that she was emotionally unstable after the events of Endgame when she came back from the snap. Vision was still dead because Thanos removed the Mind Stone, and it was just an emotional roller coaster for her. That would have still happened, just she survived the snap, so it would have taken place immediately after the snap. So Monica Rambeau getting her powers from the Hex, White Vision getting created, all those events from WandaVision still take place. And instead of Agatha being the final boss battle that we saw in WandaVision, it's actually Doctor Strange who sensed all the chaos magic. He comes in and tries to defeat her and put her back on the right track of being an Avenger. The Guardians, they keep themselves busy by going to New Asgard, and they help try to maintain the Asgard way that we saw in Endgame when Hulk shows up and Thor's all fat. He's living with Korg and Meek. Well, now Peter Quill, he put on some happy weight. You know, he didn't have that Bowflex that he wanted when he was talking in Infinity War. So he gained the weight. Groot let himself go. He's all bushy and definitely hasn't groomed himself. So he's looking like Korg. And then Drax, obviously, you know, the dud that he is, he's basically the Meek of the situation. So during these 5 years, Nick Fury assigns Spider-Man, who has now been aging up these past 5 years, and he tells Spider-Man to go on a scroll search to find all these sleeper agents that have been hidden on Earth so that he can prevent Secret Invasion, which is yet to come.
So during these 5 years, Hank and Janet discover a quantum city throughout their research, and there they find Reed Richards and the rest of the Fantastic Four. There, Reed explains to Hank and Janet that they have been stuck in the quantum realm during a mission from the 60s, but for them, it's only been hours from their departure. Here's the idea to travel into the past and pluck the stones throughout the history and where it's going to originate in our what-if scenario.
The plan is finally set in motion. Now that the Avengers have a plan to perform a time heist in which they would steal the Infinity Stones throughout separate points in the timeline, Shuri gets to work on creating a vibranium gauntlet that will handle the second snap to bring everyone back. And Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four are the forefront scientists who will take on creating the time travel equation. However, the Fantastic Four have one caveat to this whole situation. Once they figure out the time travel equation, they will not continue on with the remaining Avengers throughout the time heist, as they will be going back to their original timeline in the 60s to live out the rest of their days.
All right, so Mr. J, let's introduce the team.
Let me start off with the Time Stone, Space Stone, and Mind Stone, which were all located in New York at the Battle of New York during the events of the first Avengers in 2012. This team consists of Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, who try to go and retrieve the Time Stone from the Ancient One. So instead of Hulk having the conversation with her, it is now Doctor Strange talking to the Ancient One about this plan that they have to resurrect everybody from the future. It is during this interaction that he says the same line, "This is the only chance we have out of the 14,605 possibilities." While they're doing this, Bucky, Ant-Man, and Red Hulk are tasked in retrieving the Mind Stone from the Loki scepter. It was during this mission where Bucky, suited up in his Captain America outfit, fights Steve Rogers, who thinks he is Loki masquerading as himself. During this fight, Ant-Man shrinks the scepter, kicks it out to Red Hulk, and they both escape throughout the chaos during the battle. Unfortunately, during this heist, the same situation happens where Loki gets his hands on the Space Stone, takes him out of there, which led to the events of the Loki series. And now Janet and Hank have to go back into the past at Camp Lehigh to try to retrieve the Tesseract back in that timeline when they were studying it at the S.H.I.E.L.D. Academy.
For the next mission, we're going to have Wanda and White Vision going to Asgard back in 2013. There, they're going to retrieve the reality stone. Now this is where it gets kind of cool. This is going to be the part where White Vision is going to receive Mjolnir. He's going to get it all the way back, so that way we get Thor's hammer moving forward. While they're in Asgard, Wanda's going to use her chaos magic to steal the reality stone, or the ether, from Jane. So now we're going to have the Guardians made up of Peter Quill, Star-Lord, Groot, Drax, and Mantis. And they are going to head to Morag in 2014 to retrieve the Power Stone after they drop off Shuri and Black Panther in Vormir. During the Power Stone mission, Quill orders Drax, Groot, and Mantis to retrieve the stone while he flies up to Thanos' ship in order to rescue Gamora. Drax explains how he wants to help him so he can kill Thanos himself, and Mantis follows behind. This leaves Groot as the only member set on retrieving the Power Stone. The other three get caught by Thanos. Quill confesses the plan out of confidence that Thanos will lose this time. But when Thanos and Ebony Maw reverse engineer the time travel devices that they were given, they jump into present day.
Lastly, we have Shuri and Black Panther who arrive in Vormir. I know what you guys are thinking. There's only one way to get the Soul Stone. So here's how it plays out in our story. Black Panther sacrifices himself in order to bring back everyone, and in order for us to honor Chadwick Boseman's story. For the sake of this story, for the sake of this situation, before he sacrifices himself, he tells Shuri how much he loves her and how she is destined to be the next Black Panther. He takes off his helmet, gives it to her, and tells her to become the next Black Panther. He sacrifices himself, jumps off the edge of Vormir, and Shuri walks out of there with the Soul Stone.
Once everyone retrieves the stones that they were responsible for, they time jump back to present day, where Spectrum, Wasp, and Falcon are waiting for the next move. All return except for Quill, Drax, and Mantis. Shuri assembles the Vibranium Gauntlet with all the Infinity Stones, and Spectrum offers to bring everyone back because her powers are based on radiation/energy absorption. Boom. Snap.
Just moments after the snap, Thanos arrives with his entire armada, and they destroy the Wakandan base in which Shuri had the Vibranium Gauntlet to snap everybody back. The only survivors that we know of at this point are Spider-Man in his Iron Spider suit, Bucky in his brand new Vibranium Captain America suit that Shuri had made for him on his return from the time heist, and White Vision donning Mjolnir. They are the first three to take on the fight to Thanos on the battlefield.
So now we have Thanos, and he tells all of them, "You cannot live with your own failure, and not even your new team will be able to stop me now." Spider-Man tells Thanos he snapped away his idol, his father figure, and that he is trained for 5 years for this moment for revenge. Bucky tells Thanos, "You're my mission, and I'm finishing it till the end of the line." Vision tells Thanos as he holds Mjolnir, "I hold this hammer, although not worthy, but what is worthiness if not willpower, persevering?"
Thanks CG for those dope ass lines of dialogue. I got goosebumps writing those out. But ladies and gentlemen, we're at the third act now. The final battle between Thanos and the Avengers. Like we said, first off, it's Spider-Man, Bucky, and Vision. They take the fight to Thanos, similarly to in Endgame when it was Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man, and Thor says, "Let's kill him properly this time." Well, during this battle, Vision gets pinned up against some debris, and Thanos is about to kill him with his dual-ended blade. And Vision calls for Doctor Strange to open up a portal so that he can call Mjolnir over to rescue him. However, in this story, Captain America catches Mjolnir through the portal, walks out next to Iron Man and Thor, and we get the "on your left," Avengers assemble, the whole squad shows up, and the remainder of the fight plays out exactly the same as it did in Avengers Endgame. Rest in peace, Iron Man. Our post-credit scene in this what-if story at the end of Tony Stark's memorial and his "I love you 3000" speech to his daughter Pepper and all the gang that were there. The Fantastic Four show up through a quantum tunnel on the Stark property and tell everyone, we must warn you. There is an even bigger multiversal threat than Thanos, the one you just defeated. And his name is Kang. That's it, guys. That's what we have. That is our most anticipated what if story. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If it was a blast writing the script out with my boy CG. We just try to have as much information that was given to us from the previous movies, and we try to make it as accurate without having such wild theories. We try to keep it a little grounded, but with a little spin on it. Let me know if there was any plot holes that you guys saw on this for us, because we're curious to see if we missed anything, or if there was something in the script that we could have changed up. But overall, I'm so excited for how it turned out. I imagined the entire thing as we were writing this, and as I was filming this. I can totally see this as being an actual what if live action movie that they make. And that's the greatest thing about the what if situations, is it's just a story that can have no legitimate attachment to the overall storyline, but just be thrown in as a one-off. So that's all we have for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, you can best support the channel by leaving a like, sharing, and subscribing, so that we can keep these conversations going with everybody, okay? If you want to personally chat with me, you can follow me at Mr. Jalapeno 13 on Instagram. Hit me up with any questions. Let me know what you guys thought about this story and any other Marvel or DC content. Thank you guys, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.